Ladies and gentlemen, I give you...
You're listening to the Fantasy Alarm DFS NBA podcast with host Jon Impemba and James Grande.
What's going on, FA Nation? Jon Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome into the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS podcast and live stream recording here for Monday's 8-game main slate. James, 8 games, wheelhouse slate for us here. A lot of star power on this slate here as well. Luka, Giannis, Embiid, Curry, Morant, Tatum, SGA, and Booker all up over $10,000. We do have a couple teams on a back-to-back. Notably, we have the Celtics. Generally, Al Horford has not played on back-to-backs. We've seen some other players sit. Marcus Smart sat yesterday, is going to play today, so we'll be on the lookout to see if anybody takes a seat here for Boston in this one. But 8 games, love the player pool here. We're getting some players back. Potentially, we're seeing James Harden return for the 76ers today. They're running up against Houston. We know that obviously Jimmy Butler came back a few games ago. Paul George is questionable to play today after missing a handful of games there. So Kawhi Leonard also questionable for this game. So maybe he returns for the Clippers here today. So should be a pretty interesting slate.
Yeah, a couple other teams on back-to-backs too. Phoenix on a back-to-back. They won by 40 yesterday, so they got a probably nice fourth quarter rest. We had Indiana on a back-to-back. We already know no Tyrese Halliburton in this game. Already rolled out. So could be TJ McConnell if he's recovered from his illness, and if not, Andrew Nembhard is going to play boatload of minutes and apparently just be great. Because I guess every Indiana point guard is just going to be great.
They're also probably going to lose by 30. So.
They're also probably going to lose by 30, correct. Anyone else on a back-to-back? Let's see. I don't think so. Memphis on a back-to-back as well.
Memphis is also on a back-to-back.
Yeah, I mean, definitely interesting slate. I need to get back in the winning ways, John. I don't know about you. I'm slumping a little bit, and I'm not afraid to admit it. So I'm going to, just going to take this slate as it comes and just I'm really going to trust the numbers. I feel like sometimes I've been getting away from the numbers lately. What it tells me, pace up spots, Vegas totals, that any spots that are clear cut where there's a advantage per position, point guard, shooting guard, DVP, we like to call that. So, I mean, I really need to get back into not just trusting my gut. I trust my gut enough when it comes to things. But I also need to let the numbers do the talking sometimes too.
Yeah,
so
listen,
let the numbers do the talking.
I mean, DFS NBA we talk about all the time is probably one of the harder DFS sports to play. There's a lot of guys, a lot of variance between players. I had a couple of good nights last week. Yesterday was unfortunate with the McConnell and Halliburton getting ruled out. I was left to play a guy who saw 2 minutes at the end of the game, took a 0, basically over on FanDuel. Still almost put up 300 points, but just wasn't enough, going in there shorthanded. Made me long for the days where FanDuel cut your lowest total. Those were fun. That was a fun time in our NBA DFS lives there, where FanDuel was getting rid of your lowest score. So anyways, with that said, we got 8 games here. Ryan Kirksey's on the playbook today, so we have he'll be having that out this afternoon. We'll kick it off at the point guard spot. We have Luka at 12-7 against Phoenix here. We have Curry at 10-9 against the Pacers. We got Morant at 10-6 against Miami. We have SGA back here at 10-3 against Atlanta. Thoughts here? Again, I'm not in love with this top group. SGA, I guess, would be the one, but what are your overall thoughts here?
So I'm okay with going to Luka. Dallas as a whole has been incredibly good at home and incredibly bad on the road. This year they are 2-8 on the road and 9-3 at home. So I think they can keep this game competitive. And Luka himself averaging, just look at the numbers across the board at home versus the road. I don't understand it. And I know Phoenix is good defensively, but he's shooting 53% at home compared to 48 on the road, which is still good, but 35 points per game at home, 66 fantasy points at home. I don't think a lot of people get to Luka on this slate. I'd be okay getting there. You mentioned the blowout potential for the Warriors-Pacers game. I think that just kind of leaves Curry in an awkward tournament spot only. Ja's in a tough spot. You know what? I shouldn't say that because Miami, they are, where are they ranking? They're 23rd in defensive rating. Like, this isn't.
Yeah, well, I'll say they were down a lot.
11.
Of guys
I clicked the wrong column.
Okay.
It was that was offensive rating.
Yeah.
They're still 11th in defensive rating. Tough spot, and it's a back-to-back, like tough price to get to. SGA.
You just need to see him.
Spot.
I mean, he's been better, but we know he has a ceiling. It's been a little bit, where we've had like a full pop-off game, but again, Minnesota 33 actual in that one. So
just the peripherals have been kind of down, right? And I think it's, what I think it is too. Like Josh Giddey has been really good peripherally, like 12 and 14 rebounds the last 2 games for Giddey, and like 7 and 5 assists. Usually, in the earlier stages of the year, we were seeing SGA do all that. Mm-hmm. So now it's just like Giddey's handling the ball and SGA scoring the ball. But we need SGA to do more than just score the ball.
Correct. So again, I like SGA there, and yeah, if you can pay up for Luka, that's fine. I'm just not going to do Morant or Curry here on the slate for me.
Tournaments only for them.
Yeah. Tier down, Trae Young and DeJounte Murray are both in good spots. We prefer Trae over DeJounte at this point. But Trae Young, I don't know if you saw the report the other day, didn't play Friday, didn't even show up to the game. He got into like an argument with the coach at shoot-around. So be on the lookout. See if there's any other disciplinary actions that come from that. Obviously, when he didn't play, we got vintage DeJounte there, 53 fantasy points. But if both are active, we generally like Trae. In this spot here for the Hawks. Would you play a Harden on a return game?
Probably not. Okay. I know it's the revenge-y narrative, but been out over a month. I think they'd be pretty silly for a guy who has had I don't want to say like durability issues, but like because he's always playing, but like. Sometimes not in the best shape. Right. We'll see how a foot injury has kept him shape-wise after a month off.
He doesn't seem like a guy that would be limited to inactive, though. So
no, that's fair. But still a month layoff.
I agree, and it was a foot injury too, so it's not like these guys who have like broken hands and they can get their cardio going. Like,
right,
he probably wasn't able to fully run for a little bit there.
Right.
All right, so like, where are we going then after this? I mean, I'm looking at obviously there's a lot of injuries, a lot of questionable guys, some matchups that aren't so great. Not like Holiday. We like Holiday at 74, but Middleton's back and it's against Orlando. How competitive will Orlando even be? In this game here. Kevin Porter against Philly, maybe at 74. There could be some appeal there, but again, his production has been more down than up lately in terms of his ceiling for fantasy points. FVV's drawing Boston, and he really hasn't been very good at all lately, so it's kind of hard to get there. Shake back with Harden back. Lowry at 67 maybe would be like the next guy. Campaign at 65. I mean, where are you looking here?
It's probably those two that you just mentioned. I'd probably get to Campaign. I mean, take Sunday's game with a grain of salt. Again, they won by 40. He played 25 minutes. He was not needed at all. But the game prior, Chris Paul not officially ruled out. So, obviously, that's something to monitor. I think Chris Paul, 72, that would obviously take Campaign out of the equation. But tough spot against Dallas. Like, nobody scores against Dallas. But I would be willing to go to Campaign. He has a very good ceiling at this price. Just probably tournaments only. Jordan Poole being questionable. Left ankle soreness. That's interesting. Smart.
Yeah, he missed yesterday, but I feel like he'll be okay for this game.
Hip contusion. Well, if he's out, it's obvious we're obviously playing Brogdon, who played 32 minutes.
Brogdon came off the bench and still played 32 minutes yesterday. So
and Derek, weird. What was the deal with Derek White? Why did he only play 22 minutes with Marcus Smart?
Shot 1 for 7. Just wasn't playing well.
Okay, well, I would consider that. And then I guess the interesting thing is Fultz played 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And then on the second leg of a back-to-back, they were getting torched. And he I think they just limited him. They were losing by a whole bunch, and I think
first back-to-back for him when he came back. So
yep. So if he's going to start and play 30 minutes,
love the report here. Jamal Mosley says he's looking to give Fultz a couple more minutes in this game, went from 17 to 30, basically doubled his minutes. So
if there's no Drew Holiday and it's Javon Carter starting at point guard, I would consider Fultz. He's a good fantasy point per minute guy, and Orlando still. No Suggs, no Okeke, no Gary Harris, no Wendell Carter, no Jonathan Isaac, maybe no Mo Bamba. Like, they're still just down so many guys. So I'd consider Fultz.
Yeah, Rozier is a shooting guard only, really. Shooting guard, small forward. Okay. Well, there's still no guards there in Charlotte. They got the Clippers, so when we get to Rozier, I'll be interested in some T Rose. Maladon only played 18 minutes the other day, so kind of hard to get there. You mentioned Numbard, right? I mean, he's 42.
Yeah.
McConnell's 39. Those will be the chalk. Because again, like they're gonna play. Numbard probably plays anyways.
He's been starting.
Yeah,
anyway.
That's what I'm saying. Like he's been starting, but like even in a blowout, he played 35 in the 20-point loss to Utah. Played 37 in the 16-point loss to Portland. Like he's just gonna be out there. So. That's kind of what I'm looking at with him at 42. And then McConnell we know is decent. Would you play Carter if he starts?
Yes, okay. I would.
Even when
he's been good. He's been good. I know Middleton's gonna be there. And
Milton didn't play. Did he play the third against Charlotte?
No,
I didn't think so. Because Carter played minutes and was good in that game. So that's it for me.
Yes, agreed. I guess the Clippers guys. We'd probably have to mention if
Gabe Vincent did play 25 minutes against Boston the other night. Yeah, he didn't play well, 1 for 6 shooting, but he did get 25 minutes. So if he's back in that rotation, he's 3,200. I mean,
it's very free.
It's a decent little dark.
And they have again, like Hero is probable. That's nice to see, and like but like Strus. On the injury report, Hero on the injury report, Duncan Robinson on the injury report, Jimmy Butler on the injury report, Haywood Highsmith on. Like who knows what at the end of the day is going to look like for the Heat.
All of those guys played to that second game against Boston, where Vincent had the 25 minutes too. So like, he didn't need those guys to be out for him to get that extra run.
Right.
Duncan Robinson didn't play the second game, so I guess maybe that could have been it for him. But I mean, D-Rob isn't generally playing a lot of minutes when everybody's healthy, anyways. So
it's probably a tournament play just because we don't know the extent.
But 3,200 for a guy that's playing 25 minutes, we generally will give some looks at. So.
And he's a very talented offensive player.
Yeah.
When he has it going. So
sure. Booker's at 10K. Again, we talked about it the other day. If you want to get up to him, you can. He went for 41 actual again against Houston. 44, 51, 41 actual 3 of the last 4 games. So we don't generally love playing against Dallas. They play very slow. They generally have a decent defense, but Booker is kind of playing on another
contrarian. Yeah, contrarian play for sure.
Yep. JB up to 84. 63 and 65 fantasy the last 2. So I mean, we talk about it like he can be this good, right? And here he is. So play him if you want. He's more cash games than tournaments, but he's showing you he's got tournament winning upside. So
yeah, he's got the ceiling.
Same thing with Rozier. Again, he's going to go out there. He's going to take 20 shots. So 48 fantasy points against Washington the other day. Since he's come back, 22, 22, 25, 26 actual points here. Yep. I'm good with it against the Clippers.
Yep.
You talked up Giddey. Certainly can run there again if you want. I like that the scoring's been there lately to go along with some of the other peripheral stats. 44 or 55, your 40-pointer against Chicago. So he's starting to show his ceiling as well there at 75. So we know that he's pretty strong play. Would you play Jalen Green at 69?
Yeah, in tournaments. I mean, we see the volatility, right? 19 fantasy points last game, 41 the game before, 23, 28, 45. Like, he's all over the place. He's when his shot is falling, I mean, there's 40 actual point upside.
Yep. 40 fantasy points the other night for Dylan Brooks against Detroit. On the back-to-back here against Miami.
I'm good. I'm not paying. it just doesn't like. I know he has a high usage rate, but like 6,200.
Yep.
I don't think it's for me. Tournaments only.
Okay. Probably off-heeled here on the back-to-back.
Yeah, I'd rather just play Clay.
Okay.
I don't want to just gloss over Clay. Coming off 42, Jordan Poole's questionable. 30 plus fantasy points in 3 or 4, and he's been really good for like a long stretch. Again, we mentioned it, I think last pod, where he just had a bad game against Dallas, and Dallas does that to people.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Every other game, the last 5
encouraged
6,
that
7.
he's playing kind of in blowouts too here, like 27 minutes against the Clippers. He played 35 against Utah, 30 in their 23-point win against Minnesota. So a blowout's not going to keep him to 20 minutes, it seems like. But that would be my one worry with Clay. But he's under 6K on DraftKings. So.
Well, he profiles better as a tournament play anyway. So like, if that game can stay competitive, Clay in your tournament lineup could help out.
I played AJ Griffin the other day, and he was actually fairly low rostered on FanDuel. Yep. It's 5K. You went for 35 fantasy points. Hunter's still out and all those guys. Like, play AJ Griffin here?
I don't know. I guess it is worth... I don't know what they're going to do because they get, like, Bogdan came back, played 22 minutes. What's his minute, ceiling get to? Because there was no Trae Young in that game. Mm-hmm. There was no Collins. There was no Hunter. And I know both those guys are still out, but... I'm wondering what they view Griffin, like how can they play him at small forward, power forward, and give him extra run? I don't know. I think they're going to play like a lot of Jalen Johnson at power forward and stuff. So I think 5K is a little too expensive for me, but he might be fine in tournaments. Like he's still going to play backup 2, backup 3. So
he started the other day. So I mean,
he started because Hunter, you think, or did he start because Trae was out of the line?
I thought he was out because Hunter, because he started when Hunter was out before.
I know. I guess.
Do you think Bojan?
I guess that
starts for him.
Yeah, I guess that's the. What I don't know.
Where did they start at power forward that day? Because Collins was out as well.
Jalen Johnson.
Jalen Johnson. Okay.
And they started Jarrett Culver as well. So I don't know what they're gonna do. Like they've been playing Culver a bunch of minutes. They've been playing Griffin a bunch of minutes. Like, if Griffin's starting, sure. Perfectly fine with it. Okay. I just don't know, like, I also don't know, is Bogdan going to play 26 minutes, 27 minutes? Does that take away from Griffin? I don't know. Maybe he doesn't, and maybe that's a good call on your part. Okay. I just don't know. So, for me, personally, tournaments only, but that's how I'm kind of looking at Atlanta.
They moved Tim Hardaway into the starting lineup. And he has been shooting the lights out of the basketball. 22, 26, 28 actual the last 3 games, 32, 44, 43. And they haven't really moved his price tag. He's $4,600. He was 43 the other day. Again, I feel like this is a spot where I would throw some Tim Hardaway in a lineup against Phoenix.
Sure. I think I mean, if they're going to not move his prices, he's going to keep scoring. There's no reason to think he...
Always been kind of a bucket, right? He just
always been a bucket.
No defense at all whatsoever, and definitely can go cold at times shooting the basketball as well. There,
Phoenix 18th in 3-point percentage allowed, so they're not a little below league average defensively against the 3.
Any Aaron Nesmith interest here if Halliburton and all those guys are out again? He started. He played 24 minutes.
Probably
20 fantasy points basically in 4 straight.
Yeah, I mean, like, at this range, it's like him or Amir Coffey, and I'd rather play Aaron Nesmith than Amir Coffey.
And if this blows out, maybe he gets 30,
If it blows out, he probably approaches 30, yeah.
Just a tournament consideration there. I got nobody else here. Let's go over to the small forward position. Tatum's at 10-5. Again, if you want to play Tatum, you can. He gave you 50 against Brooklyn.
With 9 turnovers.
Yeah, with 9 turnovers, with Jaylen Brown going for like a 35-point double-double as well. So, he's not going to give you 76 every night, but, he can.
We know it's in the bag. It's in the bag.
Yeah. Probably not playing anybody again until, I don't know, would you play Middleton at 72?
Maybe if we hear from Budenholzer that there's going to be...
I mean, he played 27 minutes, so
right.
If Drew's out, probably a little bit more appealing.
Yeah, he's gonna handle the ball more for
I
sure.
just don't know how Orlando hangs in this game. So
Yeah, they're so bad. They're
not,
so bad.
They're not a good team. Again, I don't really love small forward. Where do you like? Who's your small forward here?
Oubre in tournaments. I think Mikal Bridges in tournaments. He's been pretty good.
Powell's out. We didn't really talk much Clippers, but like if Powell's out and then George and Kawhi like don't come back, Kennard, man, guys like that are gonna have to play, right?
Kennard's questionable too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I mentioned the point guards.
Sure. John Wall went nutty the other day. Had 26 actual.
Yeah, he went nutty, and then 12 minutes in a blowout. So good,
Yeah.
so great.
John Wall.
John Wall experience. Reggie Jackson too. Yeah, I mean those guys are gonna kind of have to play. Andrew Wiggins also questionable, John. After scoring 36 actual last game, so there could be a lot of interest in Golden State. I think more than maybe we anticipated if Wiggins and Poole sits. Like that's a lot of minutes just kind of opening up at the.
Yeah, I mean they could be looking at the Pacers and being like, we don't need to play our guys here. Potentially could be a spot. Let's see, Jalen McDaniels played 33 minutes. I think we're kind of going to continue to play him as long as he's running out there. Jalen Williams at 45. Any interest there with SGA back?
Tournaments. I mean,
popped off. He did what we needed him to do the day SGA sat, went for 37.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
we know what he can be. I don't really have much else down here.
Maybe if Jarrett
news, right? Like
maybe if Jarrett Culver started, maybe 30 and 33 minutes last two games, put up 28 fantasy points, 29 fantasy points.
Former lottery pick, right? So
former lottery pick. Man, the Timberwolves have really good lottery picks in there.
Yeah. Who's the other guy there? Kogi? Was that who it was?
Yeah, Kogi. Yeah, I think they had a third one too, and
They should be playing Jalen Noel more. So
they probably should be playing Jalen Noel more.
Jalen Noel the other day had like 9 minutes played. McLaughlin had like 15. It made me tweet. I was like, why is Jalen Noel not getting run over Jordan McLaughlin? Then like somebody got in at foul trouble, and all of a sudden Noel goes in there and he finishes with 21 points in 23 minutes. I'm like, the guy's a bucket. Guy's an absolute bucket.
I think that's his middle name. I think if you look it up, it just says bucket.
I don't know. I hope next year he plays on like some bad team that lets him play 35 minutes and scores. The Spurs. Let him go to the Spurs. Let him be the Spurs point guard. That'd be great.
Moses Moody and Anthony Lamb both in play, I think, if Wiggins and Jordan Poole sit,
Yep, I agree with you. Giannis is 11-9. Again, we told you could play him against the Knicks. He went for 66. I don't think Orlando's going to hang here, so I worry that...
he's just on a crazy heater right now.
I mean, look what he did in 29 minutes against Dallas, right? 30 and 11. Like, he could still give you 60 in 30 minutes. We've seen it a bajillion times before.
He's under 12K, though. This is the first time we've seen it. And first time he's been under 12K since October 31st.
Yeah. You can go there if you want. You can definitely go there if you want. Does Jaren Jackson play the back-to-backs yet? What's his deal?
I don't think he's played a back-to-back, no.
Yeah, I don't think he's played a back-to-back yet either. Something to watch. Obviously, that could impact things. Steven Adams didn't play yesterday, and Clark had a big day. So, could be something to watch there if he's ruled out or ruled in.
If Jackson's sad, I would probably maybe have more interest in Dylan Brooks after poo-pooing him earlier.
Sure.
Just to throw that out there.
Okay. Let's see here. PJ Washington at 56.
Yeah, they just don't have, he went over.
I say he scored 0 points against Milwaukee and had 28 fantasy points.
He went over 13. Oh my God.
Yep. But he had 5, 3, and 3 for 28 fantasy points still.
Talk about upside, huh? Like he goes 5 for 13. He gets you 50 fantasy points, 45 fantasy points. Yeah. Definitely in tournaments.
Jalen Smith, maybe. Could you think in blowout he could get some minutes here?
Who knows?
Who knows though?
He's he is regardless tournaments only for Jalen Smith. It's
Poku goes 27 minutes and then plays 18 and 20 the next 2 games. You figure it out. I can't figure it out.
I'm not even worrying about it. Not even thinking about it.
Not even gonna put it in your.
Nope. Not even in my brain. Nope.
Yeah.
Not even in my brain.
That's fair. Let's see here. Santi went for 25 the other night, but only 18 minutes. Jalen Johnson played 32. Would you a double too? Would you run out Jalen Johnson again?
I would. I mean, this was their first round pick last year, and he's going to start. Yeah, he's going to start. He's going to start and play a lot of minutes. He's actually a very talented kid. Can shoot the 3 ball a little bit too. So yeah, I think Jalen Johnson is your plug and play of the day because he's going to start and play a bunch of minutes at power forward.
Alrighty. Center, you got Embiid versus Houston at 11-4. I mean, listen, the 76ers aren't winning games and they're not blowing anybody out. So like,
I know that it's just Embiid. What's
our spread on this game? What do we got for?
Our spread is Philly is 7.5, giving 7.5 in a 221 total.
I kind of think Embiid might be my favorite play on this slate.
Might be.
I'm not gonna lie to you.
Might be. I mean, they're getting Harden back, so that's something. But like, and could that take away from the assists
against Utah?
Huh?
He went for 100 fantasy points against Utah.
100
points is in his bag.
No,
if he really reaches deep down in there, he's given it to us twice in his career. So like, it's there.
No, he is one of those. He is one of the most dominant players we have. It's just like on the days where he's not dominant,
sure,
he's still great. But I'm not. Look, whatever I just said doesn't matter. He is amazing. Like he is an amazing play today, with or without Harden.
Sure. Let's see here. If no Adams, Bam is interesting at 8K. Bam might be interesting anyways, but Adams is just a bigger. He'll have a much easier time against Brandon Clark than.
I kind of feel the same way about Siakam, by the way. If there's no Al Horford.
Yeah, Al Horford. Right. Al Horford's definitely not playing today on the back-to-back.
So we're gonna see Blake Griffin start against Pascal Siakam.
Yeah, I guess 9,500 Pascal.
I'm just saying, like, they're actually going to start Blake, right? Like, this is what they do. Blake
has been starting 20 minutes every single time that Al Horford's out. It's the only time Blake Griffin plays on back-to-back. So
Siakam coming off a absolute monster game against Orlando.
Yep. I like it. 95. Again, it's like it feels like he may be a spot that gets hard to get to, but there is some value on the slate that we do like. So, yeah, interesting. I don't mind it. It's, again, Bam at 8K.
Yep.
Ayton's been really good lately. He's at 75.
You know when I played him, John?
His 18 fantasy point day.
Yep, against Houston. Sure did.
Yeah. I touted him against was it OKC? Was it a couple of days ago or Detroit?
It was the
Detroit game. He went for 50, and then the next night against Utah, he went for 66.
60,
so, and then he ate apart your Chicago Bulls there for 57.
Yep, so. Good. So happy for him.
Let's see here. I really like Capella at 64 against. I mean, the Thunder are like my center stack team. Like they just really struggle against this position here. So Capella at 64 would probably be my favorite mid tier.
Zubac 66 gets Charlotte.
Yeah,
27 minutes. 27. He is just sometimes so nuts in like limited time. Like. Against Portland, 28 minutes, 12 and 13, 34 fantasy points. Against Sacramento, 13 and 15 in 27 minutes. Like he has such a high ceiling. He just needs to stay out of foul trouble and be in a competitive game.
Yep. Kevin Looney's been good, but again, I don't know what to blow it here. But 30 and 29 fantasy points the last 2 games. He had a 31 fantasy point game against Utah last week as well. So kind of giving us ceiling efforts here at 4,500. 3 of the last 5. So.
Yeah, 11-point spread in that game.
He tends to play, though, in those spots, too. They just take, like, all the other guys off the floor. And, like, Looney's out there with, like, Poole and Moody and Kuminga, so.
Dude, he's a very good fantasy point per minute guy. Like, he can do everything. Yep. He's like a hustle guy that, like, is playing 27 minutes because he's doing everything. Because he hustles around the floor, so.
Right.
I mean, yeah.
James Robinson Earl's been the one getting the minutes, 34, 26, 29 the last 3 games.
Well, you just spoke it into existence, the 19 minutes tonight, so thanks, John.
You're welcome.
No, I mean, yeah, you're right. He's fine. He's a good little player.
Yep.
They just need to give they just don't play these guys like it's just.
I agree. All right, let's build our lineup here. I'm going to throw Embiid in there. You can argue with me if you want, but I like Embiid.
I'm not saying
you can tell me I'm wrong all you want. We'll go Embiid, and we'll go in with
Jalen Johnson.
Yep. Let's see. We liked another cheapy guy here. We're going Dunbar, right? Just because he starts anyways, I think. And we're thinking.
Yeah, he'll play 30 minutes.
Game theory. Halliburton's already out. Like.
Yeah, I mean, there's no downside to playing him because he's cheap, and you probably play him at, I don't know.
I got him at point guard right now because he's got dual eligibility. All right, so we liked that spot there. Let's see here. So we have 6,100 a player for our shooting guard, small forward, guard forward utility.
So here's what I'm thinking.
Yes.
Hear me out.
Okay.
Boston can go really small against Toronto.
Yeah, you want to go Brogdon?
I was gonna say they could play Brogdon because we know Horford's not playing.
Right.
So like they're gonna play Grant at the 5.
Probably. Yeah, go check the last game log that Horford's out. Let's find that out. Let's see. Horford.
What was the last time Blake played? It was the Charlotte game, right?
Yeah. Charlotte. Yeah, I think. Griffin. Let's see. Blake Griffin played Charlotte 11-28.
11-28 was the. Okay. Because if they're gonna go small,
he only played 22 minutes in the game. But that was the game they won by 35.
Without who was not playing in that game?
Everybody
Jalen. Yeah, it was Tatum.
Tatum
right?
went for like 70 in that game.
What was the game before that? Detroit, 11-12.
Yeah, but Jalen wasn't in that game either. And neither was.
So
Brogdon.
do we have any sample of? I mean, let's just take a look here. Grant Williams.
Check the 22nd, I guess, 10-22. But that was the third game of the year. Brogdon only played 21 minutes, so. We haven't had any recent back-to-backs where he's played a bunch of minutes. But he did play 22 minutes in that blowout. So
what's the how many did he play in 11-12? Did he even play? He didn't even play in that game.
No, because he was hurt for a little bit. Remember?
Grant Williams played. So the second sub he was playing with Brogdon, Hauser, Cornette. So Cornette was the center on that line. Yeah. And then Grant checked out and Blake came in to finish the. So there was never like a time that Grant was playing center. But again, it's such a bad sample because actually, I take it back. He played about. No, he didn't. Cornette came in. Cornette was just the direct sub for Blake.
Yeah.
So
listen, I'm fine going Brogdon. I mean,
he's been a fantasy point per minute monster.
Yeah. And
if we're gonna see, listen, dude, we said this from the jump, right? Like, if Brogdon's gonna get extended to the last 26 plus minutes, I mean, you guys, this was such a stupid signing that, or like, people just like glossed over the fact that Malcolm Brogdon is like.
Yeah,
an elite two-way player.
They gave a whole bunch of nothing for him. So,
I mean,
would you want to go Would you go Brogdon and Hardaway? Just Hardaway for value? Do you like them both?
We can play them both.
Because that can.
I'd be okay with playing them both.
That can get us another spend.
That get us a lot.
That's another spend.
7K for 3 positions, right?
Yep.
Yep. I'm comfortable there.
Yep. So let's check out Siakam. Can we get Siakam in that lineup then?
Ooh, and you know what I like about Siakam now? They have now given him dual eligibility because he's starting at power forward with Koloko. I mean, not that Koloko's going to play 10 minutes and whatever, but I like the dual eligibility.
Get Siakam in there. 5,800 for a guard and a utility now with Siakam in that lineup. Let's see here. Do we have anybody else that we liked?
I mean, it's Javon Carter if there's no Drew Holiday, but it's not. That's obviously something that we're going to have to wait on.
Did you want to punt with Gabe Vincent at guard?
We're getting so scrubby.
We're getting an $8,400 utility, which is Jaylen Brown.
Sure, do it. Whatever. You do whatever you want. You take over this country.
No, we'll build a legitimate lineup. Let's see, 5,800.
No, I mean, if Gabe Vincent's going to play 25 minutes, I don't hate it.
No, I know.
I don't.
Terrace Mann's 5K against Charlotte. Could be a guy. Could be a guy. Let's see. Contra played 32 minutes. 30, 32, and 32 the last 3 games.
Yep. I mean, there's just they're just missing people. Like Desmond Bane's still out, so Contra's gonna play, and then if there's no Jaren Jackson, Contra's gonna have 10 rebounds.
Right.
Like if there's no Steven Adams, Contra's gonna have 10 rebounds. Do we have word on Steven Adams? He's listed questionable.
Yeah.
He's ruled out with a hip.
Clark is 3,700.
Brandon Clark's a very good fantasy point per minute guy.
Right? If Clark's out there, I mean...
He is averaging exactly 1 fantasy point per minute this year.
Yeah.
19.1 minutes per game, 19 fantasy points. I'm okay to go Clark.
You know what? I'm going to game theory Clark being out. And that's going to give us the $7,900 guard. Or Gardaway can actually play
T. Rose.
Yeah, let's go Rozier. I like that. Clippers. Good. Rozier, Giddy.
The answer is Rozier if Paul George and Kawhi remain out.
Okay.
And I think it's probably we pivot to Giddey. We can pivot to Giddey. For everyone listening, we can pivot to Giddey if both those guys are in.
All right, so that's our lineup then. We got Nembhard, Brogdon, Hardaway, Johnson, Embiid, Rozier, Siakam, and Clark. Again, assuming either Jaren Jackson and or Steven Adams get ruled out here, is our lineup. Kirksey will have the playbook out. James and I will be in Discord. If you have any questions, hit us up. We'll catch you guys later.